7 days a week. Internet radio in a class by itself. We're flashing the gospel around the world as a witness. And someone will say, you know what? I heard it on Flashpoint Radio, and my life has been changed. Flashpoint in a class by itself.
Welcome everyone. It is terrific Tuesday, and it is so important that we give thanks. And this is Thanksgiving week. Everybody is talking about giving thanks, and how it's celebrated in the US of A is getting that big turkey and having this huge dinner.
Can I tell you?
Coming together, it is a big do, but we are saying Thankful Tuesday. Welcome to the breakfast hour. Good morning, Mikey G. Good morning to our listeners on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Morning.
I also want to add my quote of thanks and Thanksgiving. As it is, we say it's a happy Turkey Day. You know what? Every time I think about the Happy Turkey Day part of it, is like, how happy is the turkey?
Not so happy if you ask me.
As I remember that, as we would traverse the Bible's pages every now and then, and we would look at some of the stories that comes from it. We remember the prodigal son, and we asked the question: in that story, who was the saddest of all in that story? And some people would say, well, who you think would be? Would be that son that would have been there already, who thinks that he's coming back to rob him of his birthright. And we have to look a little further, because somehow the fatted calf gets slaughtered for the meal, and so the fatted calf was the most sad of all the persons for the prodigal son's return. Four turkeys for our celebration. I'm telling you, I don't think the turkeys are very happy in the in Cayman right now either.
Yes, and I noticed that there are quite a bit of specials. There are some restaurants who offer the opportunity for individuals not to cook at home, but having these Thanksgiving meals prepared for you in advance. And Mikey G, I just want to say, every day is a good day to give thanks. I have heard so much bad, sad news. I had a conversation. I've been hearing conversations, persons who are in the peak of life,
yes,
and in a moment just being taken, being like not around anymore.
Yes.
And we give thanks for life. And every day that we have the opportunity to give thanks, we ought to give thanks. And so it's terrific, Thankful Tuesday. And of course, our financial advisor is going to be joining us, because every Tuesday it's all about our financial health. But before we do so, of course, it's time for our devotional and our regular activities that we do every morning on the breakfast hour.
Of course, Lady Elise, remember that also, as you mentioned, the idea of our passing by, and we go so quickly. And it is appointed unto man once to die, or icon and a celebrated superstar of Jamaica has also passed. So we want to also, highlight that when we come back. Of course, our devotional is here by Lady Miss Susan Long this morning, every morning. Of course, brought to you by M&M Construction for all your construction needs right here in the Grand Cape.
Good morning. This is day 25. We have found the Messiah. John chapter 1 verse 41. I wish you knew my Jesus, written by Richard Dehaan. When a missionary read from the Bible to people in a remote village in South America, they were hearing about Jesus for the first time. After the man finished reading, a villager asked, "Do you know the man in the book?" The missionary answered and assured him that he did. Later, the missionary recounted the story to a friend, and he said to him, "Thank God I did know the man in the book. I knew him as my Lord and Savior, and I was able to introduce him to these people who had never experienced his love and forgiveness." The desire of a believer for those who don't know Christ as their Savior is expressed in this song written by Mildred Dillon. I wish you knew my Jesus and loved him as I do, for if you knew my Jesus, then you would love him too. He gave his life at Calvary, the sacrifice for you. If you'll receive my Jesus, then you will love him too. Every day, we rub shoulders with people who need to accept Jesus as their personal Savior. Let us ask God to fill us with the longing, I wish you knew my Jesus. Then we will become instruments in God's hand to introduce Christ to those who do not know him. Our quote this morning reads, "If your Christianity is worth having, it's worth sharing." End quote.
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Everyone, I trust you have been having a wonderful and rich experience here on the Breakfast Hour. Each and every morning we anticipate, we are excited, we are thrilled to join you in this space. Of course, you can listen to us on our web radio, www.flashpointmedia.ky. I want to say a big hello, a big shout out to all the Flashpoint Media team members. I'm telling you, we are going non-stop. As a good morning to Elder Edgar Bennett, who is the director of the ministry arm of Flashpoint Media. And imagine, Michael G, we had an awesome weekend. Of course, Lady Connie J.E. up there in East End Music Day. She was the head cook and bottle washer
of that one, yes.
We were happy to be a part of that. And then hastily, we were at the Lascaux Cayman Adventist 10K walk, and we provided coverage there as well. Flashpoint Media never sleeps. So I want to say good morning, of course, to the man Mario, who was on the ground on Sunday, and of course Janelle covering and sharing footage, which we will share on our social media pages. It is an awesome privilege to be here. But it's not all about us, right, Michael G?
That's right. Of course, today we're joined by our financial advisor this morning. Of course, it's money that matters today. And of course, when we come back, we will definitely talk a little bit more about how we can have better financial health and, of course, keep our money more and use it and let it work for us than we work so much for it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking. Sounds good. All right, when we come back,
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Welcome back, everyone. Of course, we are joined by our financial advisor. And before I say anything more, I will ask a question. How long have you been doing this financial thing, Richard? How long has it been?
Good morning. It feels like forever. I have my degree in finance,
Yes.
and but in terms of personal financial advice, 18, 19, 19 years, 2006.
So it's been a minute. So, it's important when we're having a conversation that we have some context. And, we have our financial advisor joining us every Tuesday. And we also have our physician who joins us every Wednesday. Now, the conversation this morning, Richard, we are taking it on another tangent because we have touched almost everything finance. We're talking about purchasing home, purchasing car, and, of course, estate planning, end of life. But we have taken a different conversation over the past few weeks. We spoke about real estate and over the past weeks, everybody have been talking about Melissa, and you were actually on the ground, literally in the mud. Now, when you consider all that you have seen happening and the devastation and the heartbreak and losing everything that you would have invested, you're talking about a mortgage for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How much years you have been paying for this home?
Wow.
And the heartbreak. You spoke about emotional context. Now tell
Yeah.
me, what are you talking about this morning? Tell us.
And as you're being bombarded by so much questions, my mind just go to how quickly all our assets and what we think is valuable can go to rubble in a minute.
Right. And today, interestingly, since you have put that twist on it,
Yes.
the topic is about how to recover after Melissa and the importance of insurance in the whole scheme of things. What has Melissa taught us?
Yes.
The first thing is, are we even covered? We're talking about homeowners insurance now. are we even covered for homeowners insurance? And what does it cover? And are we properly insured, underinsured, or not insured at all? So we'll kick off by asking some questions. What is the state of our coverage right now? And let's start with what is homeowners insurance. So homeowners insurance is the cover that you purchase each year, it's annual payment, and that insurance deals with things such as fires, floods, hurricane, wind damage, loss of content through burglary, and a few others that I may not mention just right now. But since we're speaking specifically of Melissa, what are we talking about? So Melissa did three things to us. One, the wind damage. So a lot of roofs were lost, either a total loss in terms of the entire roof was lifted,
Yes.
or the sheeting, whatever covering that was on those roofs would have been lost. Now that also presented another um, challenge because with that, what you found, what you found was that if you lose a roof and there's rainfall, then you would have also loss of content or damaged content. Furniture, mattresses especially, got soaked and would have to be discarded. The third thing that happened during this hurricane, which did not happen unless you're really in a flood prone area, was water damage due to flooding. And we found that areas that were not normally considered flood prone, one of the volume of the rainfall that happened, we found that we had flood damage. And we keep mentioning West Green and Captain Hall. Those two areas suffered not just flooding, but mudding. You know, the areas were from the rivers that flooded the area, literally left the residue behind. So that in itself caused additional um, expenses. And of course, there is what we call total loss. You lose not just your roof or flooding, but you lost the entire dwelling. And we found a few places, especially in the south, that occurred.
So, just to bring some context to our listeners who are listening from all over, they're in Cayman, they're in US, they're in Canada, they're in UK. Now, I know most of you have been familiar. I've seen footage, we have seen videos of this Category 5 hurricane that hit Jamaica. And Catinol and West Green, they are a community that is in the heart of Montego Bay, right?
That's correct.
And of course, they never expected this volume of loss. And certainly, we have seen footage from St. Elizabeth and of a lot of the Western, and Richard has been on the ground. So, as a financial advisor, and you have, I'm sure you have spoken to individuals on the ground. What is the I know you're going to talk about the financial aspect, but what is the mood? Is there a sense of regret, a sense of, or it's just living now, trying to stay alive? That's what you're experiencing from these persons.
All right. It depends on where you go.
Yes.
The authorities through the municipal um, organizations, the
Mhm.
parish councils, have been energized and ODCEM have put in place their emergency measures to deal with it.
Mhm.
Now, as we stated last week, we also have had emergency response teams from the USA and other USA, Europe, Canada,
Mhm.
the Caribbean, who have poured out not just financial aid or food aid, but we have seen equipment coming in. We have had emergency crews coming in, fire crews coming from the States, I remember, and Canada, that came to rescue. But we are now beyond that rescue point. We are now in the recovery point, where now you're seeing line trucks coming in. Just over the weekend, there were several, I couldn't count, but definitely more than 20 line trucks coming in to augment the Jamaica Public Service. And JPS, Jamaica Public Service, is the power company in Jamaica. They are the ones that came in to augment their relief.
Right.
So they have been bringing in men and material equipment to supplement the effort. And so the recovery period is what is happening. As of, I think, I hope I'm not dating myself too much, but it is said that about 51% of the affected areas have now been, light is now back. There's light back in Montego Bay City itself. There is generation, of course, of power. Light, they're trying to run the light poles, recovered light poles all the way back to Ocho Rios. There are scattered areas that still do not have light. Where you're going to find the longer term recovery is in the hilly interior, where it will take more time and effort. And yesterday I saw a little bit of footage of the linemen, that's what they're called, lifting a pole up the hill to a remote area where a truck would not have access that easily. And so you find that these are things that are happening right now.
Most people are insured in your estimation.
And you touched back on that point. I was just about to head back here. A lot of persons who are have taken mortgage, and that accounts for, I would say, 90% of the homeowners with houses under 20 years are insured. Where I think the biggest challenge we have is under insurance. For the persons who have paid off their insurance, because insurance can be
The
such
mortgage.
a the mortgage, sorry,
Yes.
you find that they tend to be less insured than those. Because what you find is that insurance companies tend to insist on giving them more recent valuation. So, for example, in my own case, my last valuation was 3 years ago. Home prices have increased since then, especially in Jamaica, significantly.
Right.
And you will find that the insured amount may not currently match what the cost of replacement of the say, a roof or whatever it is, or a total loss would be, right? So we find that we have outdated valuations. But the insurance companies insist that every 2 or 3 years you do a revaluation. So we find that now that is where the biggest concern is for those persons are not who are insured that they are actually underinsured. The places that would not have been insured, unfortunately, are the most vulnerable. You know, uh, would and those persons in a situation where the houses would be, I mean, I have known of even situations where houses are built on leased land. That happens in Jamaica. And those units may not have been insured, but those are also the most vulnerable persons that would require the need. And unfortunately, or discussion would not cover those persons right now. And that may require a more long term intervention between uh, government agencies, relief, and more long term planning.
Yes.
So, what does our typical homeowners insurance cover? It tends to cover, as I started to mention, building and structural damage. It will also cover roof damage, interior damage. Now, A little known fact is that we have, and this is recorded, recorded, is that the flood damage is actually a rider, so it's not automatic,
Yes.
right? The other thing that will cover is, as I mentioned, fire damage, and we have heard of, and that's an interesting segue now, of the JPS saying, fix your hoses in such a way, turn off your breakers, etc. Check your hoses, get your electrician to come back and look at your circuitry because they may have been damaged, especially if you have roof damage and water leaking in. You may end up with short or water in your pipes that lead to your electrical fixtures. And you flip that switch after JPS has powered you up, and then you have catastrophic damage. So no longer do you do suffer roof damage, you know, have a total loss because your house is burned down because of that electricity surge. Some coverages also offer alternate accommodation where for a short period, 30 days maybe, you can seek alternate accommodation at a price that's close to it. I know it's very popular in the States, but in Jamaica, though it is a rider also, it is not used. So now that you have your coverage, you're there, what next? The first thing is first, start taking pictures. A lot of people took pictures.
Yes.
So that's important. But not only just take pictures and send them on your Facebook and Instagram and what have you. Store them on the cloud because those pictures will be necessary
For
as
your
part of your
claims.
claim process. Right? And speaking of claims process, go immediately. For those who have not yet gone, go to your insurance company and let them know that you have a claim. Even if you don't submit the claim form immediately, at least let them know that you have a claim. Date it, which I remember now that I need to date my one. Put in the communication, say that there are things that we can do that to ensure that we have a date stamp on the time on the days that we do these activities. Don't let the activity run too long. Unfortunately, and I'm speaking from my own experience now, because of the inundation of claims and workmen, etc. What I am finding is that we now have, for example, to get a quotation for replacement of a roof or quotation for replacement of, you are now waiting inordinately longer period of time to get a quotation for to replace your roof, to to consider what it will cost to do it, to clean up your house, etc. Yes, volunteers have been going around and doing these things, but there's a cost to it.
But Richard, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you're purchasing a car, it is required that you have insurance. It's one, two, three. As it relates to home ownership, um, I know in different areas in the Cayman Islands, if you're in a strata, I'm not sure of all the legal issues in terms of, because certainly Cayman would have experienced Ivan a few years ago when they had massive damage, and I'm sure they had claims from that. As individuals, though, we know fire, flood, theft, all the issues that you mentioned, Erin. Um, Home ownership to me sometimes feel a little more optional. I know it's built into the mortgage once it's mortgage, but for individuals who fully own their homes and you want to spend less money in your home maintenance, the thing that you would cut maybe insurance because why are you paying this money and you may not, but certainly you're reminding us this morning how important it is for
Well,
us to be.
well, if I might add something here, it would be to the effect that it's not a matter of at this point we have a clear evidence that the importance of it. What we have found out is that most buildings that were destroyed in the hurricane and in this devastation had no insurance at all and have no way of recovering any form of financial um, help to assist in actually building, unless you get a grant from government or some
Yes.
charity organization that would want to assist. So what we are looking at is maybe going forward. Like I had a conversation with someone earlier, and they said that in Cayman, every building that goes up must have insurance as a part of its structural or as its preliminary approval before construction, or while construction is commencing, or before construction. An insurance must be attached to the property, so as to, if such a situation, act of God, or any disaster may come, be fire or anything, then you would have coverage for replacing or help to rebuild or to repair. What would you say Jamaica going forward should do, and how? Since I don't know, I can't say most of the persons are unable to pay the insurance. I don't know what that means in terms of paying insurance at this point. But what we do know, we do need some insurance to cover losses when they happen. So how should we go forward in this devastation? This is what I'm asking now. How do you think this is an opportunity, as we say, for Jamaica to actually get a chance to do something different in infrastructure, and actually in bylaws that would actually set us on an international platform in construction and home ownership, community building?
All right. I'm happy that you said that. Now, the world as a whole, that through the media are seeing those construction that were unapproved, not approved. And for that, for those construction areas that were not approved, they tend to be in a minority. They tend to be those that were built on unapproved lands. In Jamaica, we call them capture land, where persons just go on another person's property, build on it, and build an infrastructure on it. They may have built on crown lands. So so many of these structures are actually inappropriate and temporary in nature, using wood and maybe a slab floor and wooden structure. They would not have adhered to international standards, and they would not have adhered to the standards that have been set by the building industry,
Building codes
and the building codes that are there in Jamaica. However, I will say immediately along that, for those homes that were built using the building code post Hurricane Gilbert in 1988, those homes have withstood the onslaught of a Category 5 hurricane. The roofs may not have withstood it, but then you have to remember that I said in one of our conversations that try imagine you driving at 180 miles an hour and hitting a brick wall. What would happen to you, and what would have happened to the brick wall, right? And one of the devastating things that happens with wind of this nature is that they lift up projectiles and carry it with them.
And knock stuff out.
Surges, wind speeds that were in excess of 250 miles. So though the Category 5 starts at 180 and above, there were wind speeds of measured up to 250 miles per hour. And in doing so, any projectile that would have been carried would have smashed and damaged anything that it hit into.
Yes.
So you have to use that in context,
Yes.
right? And so even the buildings that were, if you look, what you find is that we now have a lot of shells in Silsbeth that were built to code, but the roofs unfortunately could not manage that wind speed. Where the codes may now change is to say, we now need to do this in order to um, take care of winds in excess of
Mm-hmm.
200 miles per hour.
All right.
Things that will add cost,
Mm.
because that was my final segment that I would have mentioned. These things will add cost to um, not just, yeah, I mean, harsher building codes. We use the word harsher, meaning more stringent building codes, but it will lead to material prices going up. So we may now end up having asked people for double pane glasses that can withstand a Category 5 hurricane. The it may not, you may have a minimum quantity and say, okay, at least it must withstand at Category 3.
Well,
Yes.
But you will find that you're going to, for your own safety, you may say, hey, let me get a double pane glass that can deal with a Category 5 hurricane. Yes, Mike.
so in your argument that you are presented, is where we are going to look at the real issue that we are looking at. It's not so much the billing codes at this point, but to get people to apply that, are to get persons to abide by the rules of the code of building. Which
So I'm
means,
saying for
which
the
means,
most part,
which means,
especially because we have a lot of developers, they have to abide by those codes.
wait, wait, wait,
And
wait, wait,
because
wait,
of that,
wait,
why many of these structures are still standing.
here's the thing
But
I'm saying.
that the individuals who build their own homes that may want to cut corners, that will cause it to for their homes not to
So,
not to
so
be up there.
you're looking at a government problem.
And you remember, it's not. We don't want to use the word government generally.
No,
I would
it
like
is.
more to say a governance problem,
Well, all right, fine. Yeah,
oversight on the part of the parish
all right.
council.
And I think we are on the same page.
Okay.
The oversight of the government on on projects being built is not something that is very robust in my mind, because if somebody can just capture as you say, on informal settlements, as we want to put
Right.
it, but in other
Yes.
words, capture land as it is known, and people can just go on people's land and build on people's property, homes that were not authorized, and then afterwards, government give it to them, give it to people, and say the persons who own the property, the people have it already, say you have to just leave it alone. That is, for the first part of this conversation, was the first wrong move of some of the governance or governments that came into be and implement these kinds of mentality and brought these nonsensical thinking within the country.
Yeah.
I would start to strike right at the feet of those persons who started those conversations and tell persons that they can build on people's property or see our government property, even if it's not people, government land, and just build on it arbitrarily anything they want and then live on it. And then when anybody come and say you can't build your house here, it's bad mind, you're bad mind, and then government come and then you are in problems for talking about it, not the persons who actually illegally built something on your own property.
What
Right?
has certainly come out in the conversation, Mikey G, is the importance of history. You brought that history, and I never even looked at it from that perspective, where persons would have decided to just take a property and then reside there. But also, one thing that has come out to me as a result of this experience is that once was something that was flooded many years ago, is a low lying or their aquifers. I learned that word recently, and suddenly, hundreds of years after, you find. So this moment must be recorded in history for those persons in, especially Catchinall and West Green, because there are persons who have lived there who have never seen that sort of event happening. And certainly, when we record this event, what action do we take going forward? What is it going to be if anything should happen, another disaster? What are the plans, regardless of building codes and so forth? But the general environment, is it one that we should live in. And so, as you take it home now, Richard, you're talking about home insurance, and this is relevant to everyone, regardless of where you are, which jurisdiction, Cayman, US, Canada. Home insurance, it means it's not necessarily flood, it could be fire, as you mentioned, theft, any sort of event. What is the takeaway from this conversation that you would want our listeners to take away from your presentation this morning?
First thing, get insured. And in get insured at your current value, replacement value. Your home may be 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years old. Get insured for the replacement value. You want a chance that in the event of any of these catastrophic circumstances, you can get back in the place that you were at before. And that's the whole idea of insurance. Insurance literally says once you get into a place that you were, of destruction, we will put you back where you were before. So if your property was worth $20 million, forget about and we're using Jamaican dollars right now. So work with me. 200,000
Mm-hmm.
US dollars. And you lost a roof, no matter the price. The point is you need a new roof.
Right.
So either that new roof costs $50,000 and it's a quarter of the price of your insured value. The idea is to put a new roof on your building,
Right.
so that you have coverage. You and I mean in this case covered. You're now covered from the elements.
Mm-hmm.
And so insurance is to put you back in the place that you were in. Now if you have a 40-year-old or 50-year-old leaky roof, your insurance company, when they come to assess you, may not wish to cover you for roof damage.
Mm-hmm.
So the second part is once you're insured, or to at least you're attempting to get insurance, is maintain your property. You now want to make sure that you don't have a leaky roof. If you have zinc that is outdated, that is rusting parts, then ultimately any little wind will tear it off. Put on a proper roof on it.
Yes.
Even if you have to take another loan to do so. I know a lot of people, Mikey, one of them, don't like taking loans. But the truth is, many times we don't have a $50,000 one time out of pocket that we can do to put a roof on our house. However, if that's what it takes for you to get proper insurance, do it.
Mm-hmm.
So home maintenance is more than just a paint job every year, every 2 or 3 years. It's about checking your roof, checking your plumbing. I know of an incident recently that the plumber had to go in and re-plumb the entire thing because there was leaks all over the place. Right? That is part of your maintenance program. And so you have to make sure that you not only do you have your old building, but you bring your old building up to current standards,
Yes.
right? The current code, so that when it and you notice I don't say if anymore. When something happens, you are covered comfortably, adequately for it. And there's another word that is creeping up out that a lot of people didn't know about. It's called deductible. Understand your deductible. The deductible is that first portion that you have to take out of pocket prior to the insurance kicking in. And it's usually a percentage of the value of your home. So if your value of your home, again, using 200,000 as a guideline, and you have a 5% deductible, if my math is right, you have to find the first $10,000, right? And so you now have to make sure that you have 10,000 in your savings account. And so we're going back to that savings account. You have to first make sure that you have that 10,000 in your savings account, that when something happens, you can react far more quickly and efficiently. More than you say, oh, you have a 50,000 roof. They give you $40,000 and you don't know where to find the next $10,000. And you have to go back to the bank to borrow that money unnecessarily. Right? I mean, if you're in a situation that it's just so it go. But the point is, at least know that it exists and that you have to find it. So at least mentally you're prepared and say, hey, listen, I don't have that money. Roof gone. Fine. I'll go borrow the $10,000 and get back to it. And we don't have to ask ourselves, just as we have been asking, what have we learned? What lessons have we learned from all of this? And where do we now move going forward? Right? And as I mentioned a few things, let us not just protect ourselves by putting insurance in there, but make sure that it's adequate, make sure it covers the house, make sure it covers the furniture, make sure you add your riders. And many of these things will help you as a homeowner to recover and recover that much quicker, right? And Mikey, you also talk about renting. So guess what happens? If the roof blow off, you have the decision to if you love the place that much and the homeowner was insured, guess what happened? You can expect your roof back within 3 months, right? And you don't have to move out because you love the area that you're in. But guess what? You have a landlord or a homeowner that don't seem to be moving any at all. You can say, here's my key. I'm now under distress. I'm in breach. Not you know, Mikey, but the landowner is or the homeowner is now in breach because he promised you a roof over your head and there's no roof right. So guess what happened? Here are your keys. Give me back my deposit, and any court of law will make sure that you get back your deposit. By the way, it may take a little bit longer, but you'll get your money back because what you're paying for doesn't exist. You're paying for a roof over your head. There's no roof. Guess what happened? The gentleman or the lady or the couple or whoever it is will know how the strata will know how to give you back your
And I know it might sound a little harsh.
I know it's harsh, but then you Mikey would be in good stead because then you just move on to a place that was not damaged.
No, I'm saying, and it might sound a little harsh because here's a person who have covered you and give you a roof over your head for so long, and you're saying, "Give me back my money."
Yeah, because it's not you damage a man roof.
I know.
But the name Melissa.
So the whole thing is, we're just doing business. We're just doing business. So it's like saying, remember, guys, when you're renting, even if you develop a relationship with your landlord, you're just doing business.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. That's my takeaway. That's my takeaway.
And it's repaired and everything. You may just come back next year after that lease is up.
I don't think they want to come back. I wouldn't take that person back.
Richard, as we prepare to wrap up the conversation, I just want you to just share with our viewers and listeners. I know you have been on the ground there in Jamaica. You have seen St. Elizabeth, you have seen Hanover, you have seen St. James. We do have a GoFundMe that we are raising funds here at the Flashpoint Media to assist, because it's going to be, I don't like to use the word long road, but it's going to be a journey to recovery.
Yes.
And we certainly don't just want to talk about what's happening. We want to be actively involved in the recovery efforts. And so you have seen it. You are sharing information. It's not just out of the top of your head. You're saying, where do we go from here? We have lost so much. And those persons who are even in the diaspora, we are feeling the pain and the pinch and the loss. And we are trying to put our 2 cents together so that we can be on the path to recovery. So I just want you to encourage someone who is listening, someone who is listening to the conversation right now, how they can help, how they can even implement these changes.
Okay. So the GoFundMe, I didn't know of it. I believe it's a good initiative. And the fact that you're doing it through media setting like this rather than as an individual, I believe makes that much more sense. There are organizations that will take monies from you after you have raised it. And what I would recommend is that you partner with one of these organizations. I know you have an Adventist leaning. So there is ADRA, the Adventist Disaster Relief Organization,
yes,
that you can probably work with.
Mm-hmm.
ASI last week went to Trelawney in Jamaica, that is, ASI Jamaica went to Trelawney, and that's another Adventist
Yes.
lay businessmen
Yes.
and women. They went to Trelawney to hand out aid plus do medical missionary work where they saw, I think, about 300 persons. I believe that was the number that was touted. I may be wrong, so please forgive me if I quoted the wrong number. It could be less, it could be more, but I think I remember hearing something about 300. I don't remember if they said they were targeting 300 or they saw 300. So work with me that I don't have the facts here with me.
Right.
But in addition to that, there are for different areas there are different needs. St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, the need is for roofing, housing. If you can get into the situation where you can provide tarpaulins, that's an immediate need. The more medium-term, long-term need would, of course, to be to replace the roofs. For those homes that were insured, then the tarp will help for the temporary shelter. For those that were not insured, then you now start thinking about building material and so on. In areas such as I said, West Green, Catherine Hall, we are now looking at disease prevention and outbreak of any other topical disease on the skin, and of course infectious disease that can affect through eating contaminated food, etc. So we find that like World Food Kitchen is there. They're providing hot meals and so on. A personal endeavor of mine and the team that I work with is to help with the cleaning of the homes in Catherine Hall, one at a time but we're starting, of course, with the elderly and those persons who are less able to do that on their own. And that has been going well. We have been there now for the last 2 weeks doing it. The week before was just a matter of clearing out the homes, but since water is back in the area, we are now able to flush out the area. The fire brigade was there last week, along with the JDF, doing a massive, and of course the municipality, they moved over 1,000 loads of debris out of Catherine Hall. So I spoke about Trelawney and St. James. Hanover, the relief effort is also needed. Persons on the coast, interestingly, were not as affected, which is maybe a good thing in terms of also building codes, adhering to building codes, etc. But persons in the hills were, and again, there was a lot of loss of homes.
Yes.
Right? But again, it was because of the structure that they use. Wood, in some cases plywood, unfortunately. But again, it also speaks to the nature of the persons that we're talking about. So your decision will have to know. I would suggest work with the larger relief organizations, the Food for the Poor, the ADRAs, and so on, and other NGOs to ensure that the monies are funneled in the right and to the right people, because they have teams on the ground that are feeding them the information, right? If you want to take on a personal project, then yes, you can go right ahead. There are a number of persons that you can say, yes, I can rebuild your home. I would suggest too strongly that if you're going to do that, then you also speak with the local bishops and pastors and priests and whoever else that are on the ground, the community leaders that can tell you, yes, this man really was impacted and these are his needs, right? So go that direction. But yes, Jamaica does need your funding. Jamaica does need your money, and it is for a legitimate cause. And once you team up with one of those persons, I'm sure you can then add it to your GoFundMe page to know that these are the specifics that you're doing, rather than just say, GoFundMe and help me to build back my house or put down back my roof.
So what we are doing, we are going to share the link for that GoFundMe that was started by the Flashpoint Media team. We'll share it in the description of this video so that you can go on and certainly be a part of the efforts. Right now, as you mentioned, you are along with the team members have gone and have power washed houses in the Catherine Hall. Every bit of effort. And I want to say thank you. Thank you Thank you for not just saying but doing.
But
Wondering
actually
for our
participating in
listeners
it.
up there in Canada, cool Canada. Here we're getting a cold front and it coming from up there. Thanks for sharing. We like the cool, but just keep it at a moderate temperature. And we are looking forward to a wonderful Thanksgiving. Despite the situation, we are giving God thanks
Well,
that He kept us and we are able to learn these lessons from the storms of life that do overcome us sometimes. Mikey G,
well,
uh,
I want to say it has been a beautiful morning. Considering the devastation that is happening in not just in Jamaica but across the Caribbean, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and other parts that have been affected by this hurricane. Simply, and not just this hurricane, but other areas, even the U.S., there are tornadoes that are ripping up roofs and other falling trees and damaging property and maybe life lost in the process as well. This morning's experience is one that we know for sure that it won't be a Merry Christmas as usual for many persons. And as we are here this morning, we want to be that Santa Claus, as it were. While we don't believe in Santa Claus and the Christmas experience as most people do, we will say it like this, that we want for us to be that person who will give a gift of some care to someone who are in need at this time through this process. While we give Thanksgiving on Thursday in the US and of course eating turkey, let's remember someone who's not having any food and try to seek to want to assist in some way to help.
yes, Richard, as you
Right. I have one little thing to add. And you asked me, what's the mood? Somebody asked me, I don't remember if it's you or
I
you.
asked, yes.
What's the mood? What's the mood in Jamaica? Interesting, the mood is of resilience.
We can build again. We can
build
rise
We
again.
can rise again. East has met West. East is coming to the West.
Yes,
Literally, there are convoys every weekend.
yes.
Roads are jammed with good things. People coming in to volunteer
Resilience. Yes.
time and money and effort, food, clothing, etc. And that outpouring of love
Mhm.
is a demonstration that with all our political divisions and our religious divisions that we may have, we are still one people, and we will rise again. It is one of those heartwarming feelings, and I truly believe that those persons who have been affected and seen this outpouring of generosity and love really and truly appreciate it. Right? You hear them sometimes saying, nobody don't reach you yet, and you're the first person that come. Or they say, but the last time somebody came to us 2 weeks ago, but then nobody don't turn up back. Things like that. You every time you touch a new community, you hear it, and the joy. And there are some persons who are getting more than others. Don't get me wrong. Why? Because you're right in the limelight. It's easier to access.
You're at the front.
You're at the front, right? But you're still affected. Don't get me wrong. You're still affected. The tarpaulins are still flapping. you're still affected. So the point I'm making is though that we really appreciate all the effort that the individuals in Jamaica, the other persons who have reached out and touched and contributed their 1 cent, their 1 tin of bully beef, their 2 tin of mackerel, whatever it is that you have put in that goodie basket to send out.
Appreciated.
It's appreciated. So we start with those, but we also appreciate the international effort that has come in. Helicopters, the U.S. Army has sent down helicopters to
Cayman
airlift
has sent down.
Cayman.
Yeah.
The Canadians have sent in. The Europeans, we saw something from Europe in.
Lasco sent down. Lasco Cayman did a whole, I think it was 1,000 cases of water.
Right.
From Lasco Cayman. So big up again to Elder Riley from Lasco.
So what we're saying is that we are seeing the effort and we are feeling it. It's tangible, and we are really appreciative of it. Right? And I just want to make sure that we understand, that persons understand that it's not given in vain, and we really appreciate it. All right?
Yes, thank you so much. Tomorrow, our physician, Dr. K, who also is a member of the Flashpoint team proudly. She will be speaking specifically on leptospirosis. We know that there is an outbreak that's happening, but what do you need to know? What do you need to share to your family members, friends, persons who need to know how they can protect themselves and minimize the spread of this condition? Thank you so much, listeners and viewers, for joining us on this episode of the Breakfast Hour.
As I want to say thank you also to Richard to come on this morning and of course give such sobering thoughts and of course advice this morning and information. For those who are listening and don't know how to help, you got a few tips and advice how to do so now. As we go forward today, of course, remember our radio continues to play www.flashpointmedia.ky all day today. More information to come. Of course, thank you for joining us for this morning's episode of the Breakfast Hour. Those who have joined us on YouTube, Facebook, and our Instagram page, we want to say thank you for joining as well. Of course, see you tomorrow, same time, same place, when we do it all over again for you. Flashpoint Media, of course, the Breakfast Hour every morning from 6:30 in the a.m. until 9 in the a.m. Of course, at this time, we want to say thank you guys. Be safe. And of course, go out and help someone. It's Turkey Day on Thursday. Please remember, share the love with someone who is in need. Have yourself a Flashpoint Day. See you tomorrow.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd. Just you and me together, we'll all sing better outside. Just us and the sky. I will go wherever, I'll be yours Are we part of this circus? Is it innate? Feels like a heavy burden, but I can't relate. Do our actions even matter? Or is this a fate? At least now I'm feeling better, I know I'm here to stay. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the
Radio.
We use the internet to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ, transforming lives, renewing hearts 24/7, 7 days a week. Internet radio in a class by itself. We're flashing the gospel around the world as a witness. And someone will say, you know what? I heard it on Flashpoint Radio, and my life has been changed. Flashpoint in a class